It started as just a toy, a quirky little figure with big eyes and too many teeth, somewhere between creepy and adorable. But suddenly, everyone wanted one. People were paying $500, then $5,000, then over $100,000. And then the stories started. We're talking smuggling, fights in shopping malls, even banks banned from giving them away. And then came the rumors. Stories of dolls moving by themselves, TikToks about nightmares, a podcast that claimed the doll had a dark energy, and a community now wondering, is Labubu cursed? If you're into internet rabbit holes, viral mysteries, and stories that blur the line between cute and creepy, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, give this video a like, and buckle up, because today on Scandalize, we're diving into the bizarre world of Labubu.
Hi, I'm Scandalize, and I uncover the stories they don't want you to hear. The rise, the fall, the lies, the leaks, and the power behind the curtain. Because every legend has a dark side, and I'm here to show it to you.
Before the rumors, before the resale chaos, before anyone called it cursed, Labubu was just another blind box toy. Created by Hong Kong-based artist Kasing Lung, Labubu was part of his The Monsters series, a collection of weird, whimsical creatures with their own stories and personalities. But one stood out, the one with the sharp teeth, the sad eyes, the one that was hard to explain, but impossible to forget. It was cute, but not really, kind of creepy, but still lovable. Exactly the kind of thing TikTok eats alive. Unboxings exploded. People were showing off collections like trophies. Some even wore them as keychains, turned them into nail art, or made entire wall displays. And like every viral obsession, things escalated fast. Labubu wasn't just a toy anymore. It was an aesthetic, a flex, a social badge. And as demand grew, so did the mystery. To understand why people are obsessed with Labubu, you have to understand where it came from. This isn't some mass-manufactured toy cooked up by marketers. Labubu was born in the mind of Kasing Lung, a Hong Kong illustrator known for his sketchy, storybook-style monster drawings. His characters aren't superheroes. They're shy, awkward, sometimes misunderstood. Labubu, for example, isn't evil. It's meant to represent a mischievous but curious spirit, part rabbit, part gremlin, and a little bit of emotional chaos. But what made Labubu weirdly lovable was that it didn't try to be perfect. It was firmly flawed, spiky, honest. It was the anti-Barbie. And Gen Z ate that up. That weirdness made Labubu feel real, not like a product, but like a personality. It hit a nerve in pop culture where we're tired of filters and perfection. Labubu is raw, which made it lovable. But of course, when something gets that much love, it doesn't take long for the internet to start whispering. At first, it was just a toy. Then it became a trend. And then the stories started. One TikTok user claimed her Labubu moved positions on its own. Another said her cat wouldn't go near it. And one girl said she started waking up at 3 a.m. with anxiety ever since putting it near her bed. The comments started flooding in. Of course, it sounds dramatic, but it wasn't just one person. A few creators on TikTok even started calling it jinxed. Others made jokes that maybe it had a spirit attached. The kind of thing people say when something feels just slightly off. Most people aren't saying Labubu is evil. They're not burning them with sage. But there's this vibe that something about it isn't normal. And that's what made it go even more viral. Because when something is cute but kinda creepy and enough people start saying is cursed, it doesn't matter if it's true. The internet makes it real. By now, you've seen the memes. You've heard the stories. But there's another layer to the Labubu obsession. The money. What started as a $20 blind box has become a collector's gold mine. Limited edition Labubu figures have sold for $10,000. $30,000, even over $100,000. And we're not talking about vintage stuff. Some of these are from last year. Labubu became more than a toy. It became an asset class. The new flex, the new crypto, but instead of coins, it's little gremlins in dresses. So now the pressure's on. Collectors aren't just buying for fun anymore. They're hunting, trading, and flipping for real cash. And that's when everything changed. Because when a toy becomes worth that much, people will do anything to get it. What happens when a toy becomes so hyped it causes chaos in real life? Well, with Labubu, it actually did. In the UK and Australia, Mart shut down in-store Labubu launches because people were lining up for hours, camping overnight, and fighting for first grabs. In some cases, scalpers were reportedly hiring people to queue for them, flipping the dolls for up to 50x profit within minutes. But it didn't stop at the stores. In China, some banks offered rare Labubu dolls as perks for high-value deposit accounts, and it worked too well. Regulators had to step in and ban the practice. The dolls were being used like financial bait, causing what some called a toy-based investment bubble. And if that's not wild enough, people have literally smuggled Labubu dolls through airports, hiding them in luggage to bypass import limits. At this point, we're no longer talking about toys. We're talking about a full-blown global phenomenon where collecting turns competitive and obsession turns criminal. If there's one rule of the internet, it's this. If something goes viral, a knockoff is already on the way. And with Labubu, it didn't take long. Enter Lafufu, the unofficial, unlicensed, slightly terrifying cousin of Labubu. At first, people laughed. The fakes were rough. But then something weird happened. People started buying them on purpose. Why? Because real Labubus were now too expensive. And honestly, some people thought the knockoffs were even cuter in a cursed kind of way. Lafufu became its own niche, its own trend. Some even say its own kind of haunted. Not because it's real, but because the vibe is too strong to ignore. The line between real and fake blurred, and in the chaos of collecting, people started asking, does it even matter if it's cursed? If it's funny? In a way, Lafufu became the ultimate internet relic. Ugly, chaotic, and totally unforgettable. By now, Labubu had become more than just a toy. It was trending. It was expensive. It was allegedly haunted. And then Mart decided to joke about it. They called it a prank, but the internet didn't take it that way. In fact, for a lot of people, it confirmed what they already believed. The comment sections lit up. People reposted it with captions like, "See, I told you something was off." The Labubu is cursed theory jumped from a niche rumor to a mainstream meme. It was one of those moments where irony met fear, and fear won. Mart deleted the post a few days later, but by then, the damage, or the marketing genius, was already done. Whether they meant it or not, that post didn't just go viral. It turned Labubu from a quirky collectible into an online legend. At this point, Labubu isn't just a toy. It's a trend, a meme, a status symbol, a punchline, and maybe even a little spiritual. But the real question isn't whether it's cursed. It's why we're all so obsessed with it in the first place. The answer, it's weird. And we like weird. Labubu isn't perfect. It's asymmetrical, it's got too many teeth, it's emotional, it doesn't try to look clean or filtered, and that's exactly why people relate to it. In an age where everything online is polished and curated, Labubu feels raw. It feels honest. It's not about the curse. It's about the chaos, the unpredictability, the energy. Some people collect them like art, some just think they're hilarious, and some, just like that, it makes them feel something. Labubu taps into something personal, something nostalgic, something emotional. And whether you believe it's cursed or not, you can't deny this. It's got a grip on the internet. At some point, Labubu stopped being a product and started becoming a legend. Not in a corporate way, not because Pop Mart pushed it hard, but because the fans did. Some fans say their Labubu brings them luck. Others treat it like a pet. Some sleep with it under their pillow. It's not just merch anymore. It's mythology. Like Slenderman, like Randonautica, like The Backrooms. Labubu has become internet folklore, a story we keep telling, reshaping, and reliving because we can't stop thinking about it. In a way, Labubu is the perfect modern myth. It's small, it's strange, and you can carry it in your bag. So no, Labubu isn't haunted. It doesn't blink at night, it won't curse your bedroom, but what it does do is show us how easily the internet turns products into stories, into symbols, into something bigger than they were ever meant to be. Labubu started as a designer toy. Now it's a flex, a punchline, a vibe, a villain, and a comfort object all at once. And maybe that's the real magic. The world doesn't need another cute collectible. It needs something with a little mystery, a little chaos, something like Labubu. So what do you think? Is Labubu a cursed collectible, a viral masterpiece, or just a little misunderstood weirdo? Let me know in the comments. Hit like if you've ever bought something because it felt more than just a product. And don't forget to subscribe to Scandalize, because here we don't just follow the trend, we unravel the legend. I'm out, but Labubu, he's probably still watching.